Most extreme weather. Just extreme cold. The coldest I saw, and apparently the winter I left in November. So apparently that winter was a lot worse. So I didn't get the worst of it. I've heard worse stories. But the coldest I ever saw was standing temperature, so no wind chill. Standing temperature -20. Um, and then I had two bike areas, and both were in the winter. Funny enough. So, and one of my companions loved biking to death. He just loved it. Even if I felt it was faster to walk somewhere, we'd still bike there. So biking 6 inches of snow and ice. I have the scars on my knees to prove it. But you do it, and I've learned since then when it's really cold here and I'm thinking, how in the heck did I ride a bike? The idea of the mantle is a very real thing, and I say that with some tongue-in-cheek, but it's true. The mantle is real. The Lord gives you capacity to do things that otherwise you would not be able to do, and the willingness to do it, where you just have that mindset. It's negative whatever, -10, or oh well, and you go out and you do it, and it's a drive-in willingness that the source of it is not yourself. The source of it is not yourself, but a lot of squirrels in Minnesota, and that includes downtown areas. They're everywhere. In the more sticksy areas, I didn't expect this. There's actually quite a bit of turtles in downtown, and you gotta watch out. There's also some snapping turtles too. I only saw one, but I remember driving down the road in a small town, and traffic was stopped, and a guy had to get out of his car to move a snapping turtle out of the road. I also knew his own leader. Him and his companion were biking near downtown Minneapolis. They have a lot of bike trails there, and they see one just right there in the middle of the street. So didn't expect that. A lot of turtles, squirrels, chipmunks, but definitely no crazy or dangerous wildlife encounters. More or less just things I didn't know about till I got there. Most of my areas were relatively safe. However, there were some dangerous experiences. Due to, I think, what I would consider risky driving on both my end and the other vehicle, we did get T-boned, and our car and the other car was totaled. That was a scary experience. None of us were hurt. My companion might have had some bruised ribs, and I had a bruise the size of a quarter. But that was definitely scary. I almost got hit by a car. It was 6 inches of snow, still snowing, very bad snowstorm in February, I think February. And this was when my companion, who just loved biking to death. And so we're biking, and he crosses the street, and it's a four-lane intersection. And I know that if I stop biking, that I'm not going to be able to pick up momentum again because the snow is so thick. So the plan was that my companion would stand on this side of the road, and he would tell me when it was safe to go while I'm still here biking to not lose momentum. So he says the word no. I think he says the word go. So I go for it, and heard the car engine behind me, and for the first time in my life, literally screamed for my life. Fortunately, slid into the median, so I didn't die that day. But I think those are the two most dangerous experiences I had, were both just road incidents. Definitely no super dangerous encounters with people. So I would say, even if it would take you a while to get your momentum going again, or even if you have to walk it across the street, look both ways before you cross. We've known that since we were 5. But look both ways before crossing the street on a bike. Don't depend on your companion's call, because, yeah. And then just assume that if you don't think a car is going to go, assume that it is going to go. If you don't think they're going to stop, assume, what am I trying to say? If you ever have that thought in your mind of, well, this car's going to, they'll stop, or they're not going to go, that's crazy, assume the opposite, because even if they do stop and you were right the whole time, at least you'll be safe. They're basics. We've all learned that since driver's ed, but I learned the hard way. It's better safe than sorry. That's it. Just wear layers. It's always easier to put more layers on if you get too cold, and you can always take some off if you get too hot. But I bought thermals. I had coat, scarf. I didn't realize the value of the scarf. I always thought, the scarf's just a nice little fashion statement. No, the scarf has value. You'd be surprised how warm you are when your neck is warm. And the scarf helps too when you're riding bike and you have to put it over your mouth. So scarves are good. Make sure to bring a hat. Make sure to bring gloves. I didn't know this part of the mission. Maybe that's just me being ignorant, but different gloves will have what they call different gram values. So a 100-gram glove will be a lot warmer than a 40-gram glove. So make sure to buy a high number of grams and double layer your gloves too. Make sure you wear thin gloves and then your actual gloves, because that wind, that cold, it goes right through them easily. Make sure you have a good pair of boots. That helped out a lot. Yeah, that's the biggest thing I think as far as weather. Just dress warm, but also make sure too that you do bring your short sleeve shirts and all that. Minnesota's interesting. My mindset was that it would be like 70, 80s summer. No, the summers get to the 90s and they get humid because of all the lakes. So with the exception of the small window of spring and fall, that's a land of two extremes. So you're going to get hot in the summer. So make sure you bring as much of summer clothes as you can, considering you're missionary. So your summer clothes options aren't too wide. But for me, the measure of success, and that our success as missionaries and as people is determined by, I suppose, by our integrity and determination and perseverance toward what we know, in the sense that only we can determine our success, and it's not determined by the agency of your companion or your investigators or in post-mission life by your parents or your dates or your friends. Your success is merely determined by, are you doing the best that you can do according to what you know? And for me, that was a huge thing. Still is. I think always will be a huge thing to remember. Otherwise, it's so easy to get discouraged. And success really is more about resolve than it is about results. One of the hardest experiences for me was when I first got out there. My first companion, he was a good missionary, good companion. But my second companion, I got transferred after my first transfer. So my second companion was still right at the very beginning, and he was very hardworking. And so it was very difficult for me to realize. I think then I kind of grasped that. What am I trying to say? I had this kind of, I feel like, identity crisis, where I felt like I had missionary Elder Talbot and non-missionary Elder Talbot. And the significant lesson I learned from all of that was really the only way to achieve happiness in the mission, and what I'm still trying to learn, what I know in theory and trying to learn by experience, is the only way to achieve happiness really in life is by giving everything, and not just physically. You've already temporally given everything on the mission, but giving everything in terms of mental, emotional, everything you can. Give all that to striving to the Lord's will. My mission president was huge on the phrase of consecration. And so for me, that's one of the most significant lessons I learned, was just that's really where happiness, success is all to be found. And I'm still trying to learn the lesson today. I think it's a lifelong lesson, but